Hello students, and welcome back to Hexxit Education. Today we're back in our Overworld campus where we're talking about the Dimensional Doors mod. Now this mod is very useful for two different things. One, it adds a number of utility-based items which allow you to teleport from one place to another one via a dimensional door, and also adds a fair amount of dungeoneering. So we'll be getting to both of those in this episode. But first, we're going to head down into this little doorway over here, which you probably never noticed because it wasn't here before. And down here is a little room that I cobbled together. Get it? Cobble? No, sorry. So what we have over here in this chest are a couple items from the Dimensional Doors mod. So what we have here is the Rift Blade. Now this thing is very useful for a number of things. You should never go into a Dimensional Doors without it. You could, but it's more likely you're going to get lost or something. It's very simple to make. All you need is a rift remover and two ender pearls. A rift remover is made with gold and ender pearls. So for most of the dimensional door stuff, you need a lot of ender pearls. And we're actually going to get into later in this episode a very good way of obtaining ender pearls. So this here is a rift remover. We're also going to need that a little bit later, so I'm also putting it in inventory. This is a dimensional door, which we're also going to use later in this episode. You make this by taking two iron doors between an ender pearl. But most we're going to talk about are these. This over here on the left is a rift signature. This is a normal rift signature, meaning it can only be used twice. Basically, you take this, you click on a given location, right click, you go to another location, right click on that location, and you place down the dimension door on the rift that gets created in the second location. Then you can walk through the door, and it will create another door in the first location, and you can travel between those two places. However, with the stabilized rift signature, and the rift signature is made with just iron and an ender pearl. The stabilized one is made with the first rift signature, also some stable fabric, which is ender pearl plus either ancient fabric or fabric of reality, which is found inside the dimensional doors dungeon. So I'm going to take this one, the stabilized rift signature, and what I want to do is create a door right here underneath our classroom into our second classroom. That's right, we have a second classroom. So right click, there you go, rift signature stored. So where is this second classroom? Oh, it's a little bit away, say a couple thousand blocks north. So I'll be right back. Welcome students to our northern classroom. We are, if you look at our mini-map over there, we are at 8100 negative coordinates. So we are past the wall in the north from Better Dungeons. This is the most dangerous area in Hexxit. Once you get past this thing, there's a lot of very strange things that happen, most of which is that the dungeon spawning doubles. If you actually find land, it's actually hard to find land in this area. It's mostly sea in my particular spawn. But, you might find something if you have a better seed than I do. Another thing is that a lot of the dungeons you may come across, even the ships, will not be guarded by skeletons or zombies. They'll be guarded by armored endermen. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'll give you a brief tour of our little classroom here. It is much smaller than our old one. It's made primarily with, I think this is the Bounds of Plenty redwood, which we actually have one over here. Useful source of redwood logs. And over here, oh, actually, I got that in our next lesson. But yeah, there's quite a few skeletons here. I killed them and put their skulls on display. The creepers too, and the swords. Well, they just look nice. So what we're here to do is this: take the signature we just used a minute ago, put it right here. No ender pearls. I didn't think I need ender pearls. Okay, right here. Okay, I didn't know I actually needed ender pearls to create the rift. Oh well. So now we have, I believe, a dimension door. And it was right here. So right click. Yep, so the dimension door absorbed the rift behind it. So if we open this and go through, wait a few seconds, we are right back where we started. Okay, so this is interesting. Look at this. Right now, this thing is off by a little bit. See, however, you can use the rift portal here, it's a rift blade, to adjust slightly the location and orientation of the doors. So now it's a proper door. So now we're here. Passing it through the ether. And please note, it only required the ender portal to create the second door here. It did not require one every time you go through. It's a very different thing. But what else can you do with a stabilized rift signature? Well, I'll show you. Be right back. Hello again, students. I have my head down right now because I am very much surrounded by Endermen. We are about a quarter of the way back down towards our overworld campus, and we've encountered a rift. This is a naturally occurring phenomenon because of dimensional doors, and most people consider these things to be a hazard. Actually, they're very hazardous at night, so I'm going to make it a little bit more safe for myself. And so, hold on. Okay, do you see that platform there of dirt? I put that over there, so I could easily, there you go. See the particles? Just like we saw before. These are naturally occurring rifts, and these things will, over time, expand. Oh, hear that? Occasionally, you will get Endermen spawning somehow. You'll get Endermen spawning somehow and will be naturally angry without you looking at them, but don't try and aggravate them ordinarily. So what I did was I purposely put out that dirt because the rift had spawned over water, and that makes them go all over the place and sometimes die. But if you give them a platform, they can actually spawn and stay there. Now, why in the world would I want to be over here? And this seems like a hazard. Look, they've already started ripping up the landscape here. The reason is twofold. One, because I wanted to show you the really cool thing about the stabilized rift signatures. I'm going to go over here, fairly safe distance away from the rift, and right-click on here, rift created, and I happen to make another dimension door, so put that here. I'll try when I go through this. Cool. We're back on our overworld campus. Now, here's the interesting part, though. Go back through it again. And we are back in our wall classroom. Now, if we go through this again, we're going to be back in the overworld campus. That's right. What we did was essentially create a C door, so to speak. We have the A door, which is the one on our overworld campus. We have the B door, which is here on our wall classroom. We have the C door, which is on the rift. The problem is that you can only go through the C and D and E and F, etc., back to your first point, so back to our overworld campus. So you have, in essence, a whole network of sort of secondary doors. This one, however, is the only one that goes back and forth, meaning you can go from A to B and B to A, but you can only go from C, etc., back to A. So it's useful for making sort of a one two-way door, same thing as with a rift signature. But a stabilized one, you can actually make sort of secondary escape portals. I mean, all you need is some iron and some ender pearls, and you can fairly easily make yourself some dimension doors wherever you are and get back to your base. However, I prefer the direct approach. I usually carry with me a wraith's eye connected to the wraith node in our library and some ender pearls. That's how I've been getting back and forth. Unfortunately, now there's no way to get me to get back directly to where the rift was, so I'll be right back. And here we are, back by the rift. I had to do this the slow way, which is to fly in creative mode. It took me quite some time. But we are back here. So like I said before, most people, when they encounter rifts like this one, they think that they're a menace, they're a pain, and they kind of are to a certain extent. If you get them too close to your base, they can be very, very annoying and even hazardous to your health. On the other hand, though, they're a gift. I mean, think about it. Where else are you going to get this high a concentration of Endermen outside of the end? So if you, for example, want to do some more stuff with diamond dimensions or any other thing that requires ender pearls, why wouldn't you just come up here, make yourself a little bit of armor, nothing too special, just some diamond armor. Take a diamond sword. and you get what I call a poor man's ender ender. And obviously, you could go through Tinker's Construct, get some lapis, and make a luck sword, and you get a better drop rate than this. But even without that, you just go around here, pick up some ender pearls. There we go. We already got one. 3 Endermen down, a few seconds, and make this young. It is more dangerous at night, though. I've seen several of these end rifts forming. The most dangerous ones I ever found are the ones that are inside forests. However, if you happen to find ones that are in forests at nighttime, preferably when it's raining, those things are everywhere because they can't go anywhere. They have to find space out of the rain under trees, and they just they come to you. You just sit there and go click click click, and eventually they have to come by you because of the limited pathfinding they have. But on the other hand, if this thing is too close to your base and you spend a lot of time in your base, you don't want to lose it, you can use one of these rift removers. I'll show you how to do that right now. Simply go over to the rift. Be careful to avoid looking at the Enderman, and sort of right click. See, you see the little poof? So part of it is now dispersing. Not the whole thing, but parts of it are definitely dispersing now. It's kind of thinning out the rift. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that rift remover just destroyed itself. And these things they should have durability, so I'm kind of confused as to. Okay, so it looks like consuming that one just took out most of the rift here. Yep, so a little bit of this vestigial part here. I had to make a second one in order to remove that. But that should be gone in a few seconds. Yep, it's sort of like catching into the other parts. Now there are pieces that are like over there. That's a segment. There's 1, 2, at least 3 separate rifts right next to each other. I'm not sure if like one was created and then the other ones sort of latched onto it, or if it is spread. I'm actually not sure. I'm tempted to think that it's spread, but I really don't know. All I know is that in most of the cases when you find one of these things, go to it, get the ender pearls. You never know when you might need them. And we're back here in the overworld campus. So I did promise you that there are 2 important elements to the Dimensional Doors mod, right? Well, the first one is one we just saw, the utility base, where you can go through and just create portals, make things much simpler on yourself. You can move all over the place much easier than you would with using boats or any conventional methods, with a possible exception of the Wraith's Eye and Node from Harkenside, which is extremely useful. I recommend you seek it out. But the second part of it is just as interesting, and if not more challenging. So I'm going to go and find one. I'm not quite sure where they are off the top of my head, but I'll be right back. So I didn't have to go very far from our overworld campus in order to find ourselves a dimension door. Yes, that is a dimension door, but so is that. These things have a tendency to be a little bit weird, but you can always tell which ones they are because they'll have this distinctive stone brick pattern to its design. If you dig down a little bit, yep, you'll find this thing here. Now, right here is where this should be. Somehow, this door, you can look at it this way, should be over there, but it kind of got moved somehow. So I'm going to try and use the rift blade to move it around a little bit. Oh, my mistake. Okay. Okay, I just opened a rift by accident. So this is sort of the dangerous part of using the rift blade, is that it not only moves dimension doors, it also creates rifts or portals. So basically, I'm gonna go over here, just show you. Hold and release, and just created a pocket dimension. Now, this pocket dimension is completely void. There is, well, I would say void, but it is devoid of anything. You have fabric down here, which is, this is basically I think it's a 29 block cube. However, the only way to get back to it is to go back this way. Through the way you came in. And you see, it turned it back into this thing. Fortunately, these things only create single-use dimensional rifts. The other way to do it, I'm going to go over here actually. Create a portal first. Oh, sorry. You want to try and make it on the surface. This looks a little neater. Go through. Then make a second one. So we have the rift behind me and we have the portal in front of me. So what that did, oh wow, that made a huge freaking void. This is how you can create those end rifts if you want. So basically, I entered here, or actually I entered here, sorry, and exited here. So the short distance I traveled inside the portal was reflected outside. So you could theoretically get around obstacles that way. Although I find it's a very messy way to avoid obstacles. It's better just to go through. So without further ado, let's head into one of these dimensional doors. And always bring a rift blade with you. Don't always know why you need it, but you usually need it. Okay, so from my experience, I've been through quite a few of these. There are about 15 or 20 different rooms that come through dimensional doors. And important thing to note, you remember the portal that we went through was a wooden door. Now I believe that the wooden doors, dimension doors, go up. That is the they sort of go up one dimension as opposed to the iron doors, which take you down one dimension. You can think of it sort of in that sort of verticality. So if I go through this, it takes me sort of deeper into a second tier of dimension doors. See, I didn't put that there. If I go back, it'll take me back to the same room I was in before. And if I go back through this, it'll take me up, back into where I left off. Now, I should forewarn you, most of the time when you enter a dimension door, you will die. You will not survive being in dimension doors. And that's not a bad thing because it needs to happen at least once, and it can be preferable in some cases. Okay, nothing to worry about. See that there? That is a monolith. Do not stay too close to those things. They are sort of like the guardians of the dimension doors. I think you can kill them. It's not really much purpose to it. Also, be very careful of blocks that have the holes missing in the ceiling. I'm wondering if this was actually, because this looks a lot like what I would do. So I'm trying to figure if I was here already. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, that was broken though. That's a weird thing. See, even if you bring your own torches and you mark the area, it's very easy to get confused around here. Oh, and by the way, there are chests. Well, maybe the main reason to go into the dimensional doors is because you can find. Ooh, that's scary. Whenever that happens, you can find places that have chests, and don't be frightened. That's not void. That's actually the fabric of reality. Now, in most cases, you can't harvest it. There are other ways to do it though, because you need it in order to make the rift remover and rift signature like we learned a minute ago. So we got not very much items. In general, I found you don't get a lot of good items from these dungeons, but they're not too bad. So we'll go over here. We get some sorts of nether brick. We got quite a bit of obsidian right here. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention beforehand. I augmented my gear with some cloud boots. Very useful when you're going into the dimension doors. And I should mention also that some of this stuff is kind of optical illusion based because dimension doors are so tile oriented. You can easily miss the fact that there is, for example, a basement right down here. So let's go down. Okay. Oh, another thing I forgot to bring with me. You should usually try and bring a pickaxe. Doesn't really matter what kind, but bring a pickaxe. A sword will not help you as much as a pickaxe. And also bring at least 1 or 2 stacks of cobblestone. Let's go in here and see where this takes us. Okay, we've got a bedrock wall in front of us. We've got 2 different pathways. We've got an open ceiling. I don't like the look of this. Also, the fact that there are different colored tiles on the floor. I don't like the look of this one bit. So this might be a crushing trap. There, quite a few of these things are actually trapped. Yep, this is a crusher trap. Okay, we gotta get back in now. Okay, see, there's lava and there's pistons. This thing will kill you. So when you see this, go right back in. Another important thing: every once in a while, you may go through a portal where you can't sort of get back. That's when you break out the rift blade and use that to get back. Another thing you can do is create. Let me show you now. This is made with an ender pearl and 2 trapdoors. Basically what this will do most of the time, and I'm not quite sure about the exact rules, but most of the time, if you put the trapdoor anywhere and just drop it and go through it, it should take you back to the overworld. However, if you're too deep, it may only take you back part of the way. It really depends how far exploring much exploring you've been doing. Let's head back up here, and by and large, I have not found a good system for keeping track of where you've explored. The best thing I can tell you is to use signs, like for example, in this place I didn't bring with me, but if I had signs, I would put in front of this door. I would say to overworld via spiral room, because I'm going up here. There's a room with the spiral. Oh, actually, I didn't show you that yet, so let me show you it now. So we came in this way, I think. Yes, because we saw that guy. We came in this way. So this is a 2 overworld. This is a spiral room because it has down here a spiral staircase. And see, there's a door down that way. So you just go all the way down the spiral staircase and see where it takes you. And note that because it was, oh, that's what it was. Cool. So what we just did was reestablish that portal that was here. So we went through this one and it took us into that room that was 1 up. But because it was a wooden door, it took us back also 1 up. So if we go back here, it'll take us back to where we were before. So we can go right up there. And if we wanted to, go right back to the portal we first went through. Or we can continue exploring. So I'm just going to keep going through here and we'll see what we can see. As I said before, by and large, you don't get a lot of good gear in these, simply because the chest drops seem to be more dependent around sort of basic stuff. However, every once in a while, you do find some interesting equipment. And if you happen to find a treasure room, which is one of my favorite things, that might help you a bit. Again, watch out for lighting glitches that may not actually be lighting glitches. Oh crap. Oh. Okay, so we just went back up 1 level and ended up underwater. Let's try and get back up here. This is not an uncommon thing. There we go. Okay, so this one I would put danger, water, do not enter. Or something simple, like something very simple, because in general you don't have time for a lot of nuance and you only have so many characters on the sign. I think let's try this door. I don't think we went to this one before. Oh, we did. Let's try this door. Now, generally speaking, these iron bars aren't for like protection. They're mostly for block lag. They're mostly so you can tell where you have and haven't been yet. Interesting. Okay, so we have some kind of disturbance here. Let's try and move it. There we go. Every once in a while, you get these little glitches. which case it is useful to have the rift blade with you, so you can try and correct it. It's kind of like a dimension door's wrench. Okay, now we're in this. Oh, I know these things. So these are actually fairly dangerous. So first thing first, always be on the lookout whenever you see what looks like free loot. This happens to actually be free loot. This, on the other hand, is not. This is a trap. I know this because I've been killed by it many times. However, I also know how to disarm it. So you gotta be careful whenever you break blocks around these monoliths, because they don't really take damage, but they can damage you. And as much as you can, try not to have too much of your area exposed to this fabric, because yep, there we go. TNT. What happens if you flip the switch? This comes up, you can't get through, that falls down, blows you up, you're dead. Yeah, this is a fairly common room that I've been many times. It also, I think I call it a 5-way branch because it's 1, 2, 3, and this is 6, 4, 5, 6. Then there's this, which is also another trap. This one's actually a little trickier. If you look very carefully, you'll see a tripwire right there. So if you hit that, it hits off the redstone and blows you up again. So again, best course of action is not to do that. And I'm dead. Or am I? Oh no, I lost my stuff. Oh wait, I got my stuff back. Even if you don't have keep inventory turned on, you will still keep your items as far as I can tell. Don't quote me on that though. We're falling, we're falling. Oh, we stabilized. Okay, sorry about that. So basically because my render distance was set to short, I wasn't able to actually see what this world looked like. This is what it looks like. So like I said, in general, you want to keep moving downwards like this. And don't stay put too long because those monoliths will send you back to where you were before. But like I said, it's kind of hard to tell where you want to go. But just keep making your way downwards. Eventually, you will find the sort of the dark soil that you're looking for. And more often than not, you'll probably find it by accident. Yep, there we go. Now see what happens because I found it. It teleports you to a random area up to, I think, like 500 or 1,000 blocks in any direction of your spawn or where you enter, something like that. So right now I am somewhere very strange. I'm actually really far to the west. So if you look at my map here, just for reference, actually it might help better reference here. So there's our Overworld campus. We are this far away to the west of Overworld. We entered this thing right about here. So we went from there to here to there by falling through limbo. And that's pretty much what usually happens when you go into dimensional doors. You go through, best intentions, try and get a little bit of loot, try your best to be smart, try and disarm the traps. Eventually, one of them will kill you, and you will more than likely end up on some of this stuff. Now, what is this? Yeah, unfortunately, it's a little hard to gather. There we go. This is unraveled fabric. This is the stuff that you need in order to make the rift stabilizer and several other items from dimensional doors. It's a little hard to mine. It's best if you happen to find it on land, but more often than not, you end up spawning on the ocean. You just have to get under it and sort of dig carefully because it's a little bit hard to obtain. There we go. Got a little bit. I'd say it's as difficult to mine while swimming as maybe iron. So diamond pickaxe is definitely the order of the day. So I think this is a good time to end this episode. Stay tuned for our next lesson, in which we're going to continue with our tour of the Wall campus, Wall classroom, I should say, not really campus, just the one-room schoolhouse. And I'm going to have an important announcement in the next lesson, so stay tuned. This has been Kankadia for Hexxit Education. Class dismissed.